Grand Rising, everyone. How are you today? Not taking nobody's mess. I don't care who it is. Let's kind of situate this here. I didn't know my screen was that big. Let me see what we're going. Hey, you are fun. You are fun. You are fun. We're going to read from. I'm gonna push it back some so I can really see. That's my kitchen, so it's clean. Haha. Okay, let me go this way. We're going to talk about. We talked about welcome to Josie's place. How Josie found her purpose. This week we're going to go out from under. Out from under. Good question. Someone who would answer yes to almost all the diagnostic questions in this chapter is my mother. This is what Ms. Kirschbaum saying. Fate gave her the back of its hand when she was growing up. She had been given the message loud and clear that she had nothing special to offer to life, and life had nothing special to offer her. Nothing beyond work, obedience, and death. Maybe she never would have felt she had anything to offer if it hadn't been for the Holocaust. That's deep. Hitler invaded Poland the year my mother turned 16. Everyone in her family was killed. But somehow my mother met and married a young cavalry officer. Soon he was killed. Wow. But he left my mother with a son and my half brother. By the end of the war, 6 years later, my mother had a second husband, a stepdaughter, another child, which is me, and the beginning of a whole new sense of herself. Halfway around the world in Central Asia, my mother, who might never have left her tiny village in Poland, might have never discovered that she was capable of more than wiping a nose, washing a dish, found out that she was an excellent businesswoman. When she had to figure out ways to support her family, and she loved the world of business. This is exactly like the Robinson Crusoe experience, washed up on the shores of some disaster. We find some wonderful resources within us. I want to make sure you don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Here, it's true that I'm saying that discovering a hidden talent was a reason for my mother's going through what she did. The personal discovery did give meaning to the terrible losses in her life, but I'm not talking about one thing justifying another. I don't think 6 billion personal discoveries make up for even one death, much less 6 million deaths of the Holocaust. But this isn't about one thing making up for another. This is about, okay, the terrible thing happened, but it's happened, it's over. And now here you are with that loss. Will it be a total loss, or will you be able to see that something valuable and meaningful can come from it? Discovering a hidden talent is actually a very big deal. It can save your life, as it did for my mother. It can save your emotional life, giving you the hope and energy to go on. The energy to go on. And it did for Josie. It can save the life of the real you, the part of you that's special. But how do you identify your talent if all you know, based on answering the diagnostic questions, in this chapter is that uncovering your talent is the reason you've gone through what you did. Next part is thinking big. Let's think big. We have too small of an idea of what talents are or which talents are most important. If I tell you that someone's very talented, what's the first thought that comes into your head? Probably something artistic, singing, painting, writing, dancing. Maybe you think of something athletic. Maybe you think of a math or handicrafts. But we've already seen with Josie, that the concept of talent can be taken much further. She turned out to have a talent for religion. The, the real truth is that anything that's important in life is something some people have a talent for. It's important to be happy. For example, my research and that of many others have shown that indeed some people have a talent for happiness. And why not? What does the word talent mean anyway? It means that in some miraculous way, you just know things without having to learn them. For example, my friend Mr. Joe, rest in peace, he had a talent for fixing on cars. He knew how to put a car together. He could take it apart, put it back together. If you do learn, you learn much faster than other people and get much further. Why can't a person have a talent in the sense for any aspect of life you can imagine? And then why wouldn't some huge event in your life come along to help you develop your hidden talent for, say, patience? Remember the guy whose son had gotten into trouble with drugs and disappeared. What do you think happens to people when someone they love has disappeared and they can't find them and all they can do is wait and hope? Here's what Doug said to me. I never thought I was a patient guy. I run a business. How many guys like me are patient? But I think it really hurt me not acting patient. It hurt my marriage, my relationship with my son. I think it hurts me in business too. You need patience to have a long term goal. But I hadn't had any plan for the firm or for how I'm going to develop clients or anything, Doug said. But I think through all this, I really have been discovering how patient I can be. Part of it is just my telling myself that patience is a virtue I need now. Suppose Doug comes back and I am going to blow it all by being impatient with him for whatever, wherever he's at. I thought a lot about what kind of father I'd been and how I wish I'd been more patient with Dougie. I can't exercise my patience with him now, though, but I can work at it. At the shop, that's what we call the agency. I like everyone's dad a little bit. And I've really become much more patient. If someone has an idea or point to make and they're not getting it over all that well, I give them a chance to get what they want to say. It's been good too. People talk more and some good ideas come out that I wouldn't have heard if I hadn't been so patient. Gotta learn to be patient. Gotta be patient with your children, patient with your relationship, patient with your coworkers. Just patient. It's called wait. If people are struggling with a project, I put my energy into helping them instead of yelling at them. They may not get it done as fast as I'd hope, but it's usually a lot better than if they are just finishing up quickly because they didn't want to deal with my impatience. Caught in his time bubble of hope and waiting, Doug made a simple decision to be more loving, more forgiving, more patient person everywhere in his life. He even changed how he dealt with his ex wife. Doug's new approach had a surprising impact on his business. A more patient approach to people extended to how he viewed the customers he targeted with his ads. His ads became more human, warmer, sweeter, funnier, and they did a much better job of connecting with people. For the very first time, Doug started winning awards for his ads. This brought his agency to clients' attentions and brought him new business. And Doug heard from his son about a year ago. It turns out the kid had gone to LA with nothing more than his head in his head, and then the fact that there were drugs out there. But there was also entertainment industry. He went through a period when things were terrible. He'd been beat up, homeless, thrown into jail, and had to do things to hustle for money he would never tell his father about. But he had an instinct that he could turn things around. Was this the talent for patience with himself? Maybe. Buried treasure runs in the family, and that he shouldn't contact his father until he was back on his feet. Dougie denied himself the help he needed to save his father from the burden of seeing how far his son had fallen. And he did turn things around. When he called his father, he was living in a halfway house connected to a drug rehab center. He just started work as a production assistant for a company that filmed commercials. He was incredibly proud of the fact that he launched himself into something connected to his father's business all by himself. Doug has flown out to LA to see his son several times. They talked on the phone a few times a week. Doug is now welcome in his son's life, being patient. So we talked about thinking big as well as out from under. So we will next week we'll be seeing your specialness. We got to come from out from under and display, show your talent, find your talent, find your purpose. Why were you born? Remember to smile today, study with excitement, meditate with intentions, inspire others, laugh hysterically, and elevate. Because not taking nobody's mess today. Remember, thinking big and out from under. Peace. Remember, you are fine.